Hello, YouTube. Welcome. This is Campaign Train. I'm your host. I got Cross. This is the basement. And yeah, gonna be another chill one tonight. I have worked more on the Lighthouse tower. That's Lighthouse is in big words because it's not modern style at all. It's sort of something they might have had medievally. So I've been working on the tower, making it more. And I just got a first coat of paint on it. It's going to need some more paint, I think, but we'll check that in a minute. If not, I go straight to the dry brushing, which would be better because then I can move through it faster. I will also tonight be showing how my houses, my ones especially I use for storage, or if I'm wanting to do an interior gameplay, how they nestle together like that and how I do that. It's super simple, but stick around for that. That's really all we're doing tonight. A little bit of painting, a little bit of showing off how the things nestle together. I'm not going to be building one because they're so simple. All I have to do is show you. But someone asked, so I'm letting you know. That person was, actually I got asked twice. So let me jump into my brain Patreon patrons, which is right here, because one of the people that asked was Nick. And so my Patreon patrons are Digital Calibrator, that's DC. DC comes over and actually helps me with some things sometimes, both audio and video. So if you're hearing it or seeing it tonight, DC is one of the ones that can help with it. LC, yes, first, loosely collected in the house. Nice to see you in the house. That's a pun. I didn't even mean it to be because we're going to be looking at houses in a minute. Okay, so that's DC. DC actually comes over and helps with some of the stuff. And so big, huge help to the channel. And I appreciate the financial help as well. Patrick Walther, longtime supporter. Huge shout out to Patrick. Got Dungeon Matron. Now that's Lisa. Now Lisa has some big news. Lisa and Carl from Carl Making Stuff and Kim from Questboard Terrain are all going to be starting, or have started, or it exists now, but they haven't put up their first video, their own YouTube channel. I've been joking with Lisa that, oh, one of these days you'll do it, but for like 4 years now. And what do you know? I was right. I had no idea. Mrs. Lynn, hello. Yeah, their first videos, which I believe will be a live stream, is coming this Wednesday. They are going to have Nat One Videos Michael and Zane Morgan Crafts Zane Morgan as interviewees or on the first show or whichever. So hugely looking out for that. Okay. Next one is Solo Nick. That's Nick. Nick was one of the ones that asked about how the houses fit together. So that's why we're going to talk about that. Nick has two channels. One is Solo Nick and one is Climbing Moss. I can't get that stuck in my head. Excuse me. Climbing Moss is where Nick wanders around and does things like that. This week's footage was from a K-pop concert. Good stuff. Fun. Enjoyed it. Solo Nick is the crafting stuff. That's the minis and things like that. And yeah, there's something else about Solo Nick. Oh, Solo Nick gave me an idea. I believe it was Solo Nick. They gave me an idea about how to clean the fuzzies out of my wire brushes, because I've been trying to figure out how to do that, and trying to scoop them out with a different wire brush just puts the fuzzies in the other wire brush, the little foam bits that come off. And Nick suggested using, I think it was Nick. If it wasn't Nick, I apologize to whoever it was. Even if it wasn't Nick, you can take all the credit, Nick. And my thought was their thought was to use a metal ruler and run it across. And that worked really well, especially if I used it sort of like a toothpick or a floss and got between there. And that got at least everything up to the top where then I could just blow it off. So good stuff there. And last patron is Mia Geeked. Mia Geeked, it has a YouTube presence, a Twitch presence on. I apologize, Mia. I have completely blanked on the name of your Twitch. I apologize. If anybody's interested, Mia and several other friends get together, and you watch them play role-playing games. They do several different kinds. They've got a science fiction-y one going on right now. They've had some horror stuff, etc. It's D&D type stuff, etc. So something Arconia, but I don't remember what it is. That's ARCHONIA. You should be able to find it on Twitch with just that. They also have a series called Tales from the Backlog. So I'm thinking the whole thing is called Tales of Arconia, but I could be wrong on that. Look up Arconia or come to my YouTube. Come to my Discord and ask me, or come to my Discord and ask Mia, because Mia's on my Discord. And yeah, that is everybody. So now I'm going to jump into it. As y'all know, this light tries to blind you, so I'm going to switch to this camera, then turn on the light. There's going to be a flash for just a second when that comes on, and then we will get down to it. So give me just a second here. Let there be light. Pow! Sorry about that. It should already have settled down by the time I'm saying this. Alrighty. I always forget to tell everybody, or haven't forgotten lately because I have the little sign. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you can, once this is all over and done with, please refresh the page and please leave a comment. That seems to drive the algorithms a lot better. Okay, now, speaking of the algorithms, I have a online friend who I watch their channel and they watch mine. That's Sim Peasant. Jess has a channel called Sim Peasant, like The Sims, and lots of really chill, laid back stuff going on. Their videos are never over 15 minutes. They're always really laid back. No shoot 'em up, no anger, just easy stuff. And this week, in fact, today, I think, but several this week, but today, she is continuing a series she has just recently started. So you're only 2 episodes in on. She took one of her Sims character, aged them up as if they are now of appropriate age and are going away to the Magic University in, I believe it's called the Magic Realm. I'm not a Sim player. That seems really interesting. I love narrative play and games like that. So that's very cool. I think that's all of the housekeeping out of the way. So here is the tower. This will all be glued to. I was thinking this would all be glued together when I built it because that would make it sturdier. But I realized that there's not going to be a way to get figures inside to make them playable. As you can see here, I would have to redo the grid on here to basically rebuild all of this. And I don't feel like doing that. But if I did something like this, then you could possibly stick a figure in there. So what I'm going to do instead is I believe I'm going to build some little pieces onto this to hold the upper layers firmly in place so they don't move around or anything. And then that way you'll be able to take them off, but they'll be able to nestle in. I don't have to worry about all 4 corners being exactly the same or anything because I can just match the ones that are here. And even though they are imperfect and not the same all around, I plan on keeping the stair parts aligned, so it should be pretty easy to build one that fits it that direction. Now, if a minifigure was an actual person, they could potentially climb in here pretty easily, especially if they're a limber fighter who's in, doing that type of athletic stuff all the time. It would be pretty easy for them to climb up, like grab this one with their hands and sling their feet through and end up in here, and they could hide out in there for raining down fireballs from there, or arrows, or even if somebody's taking a swing at somebody could duck inside to get out of the way of somebody swinging a sword or an axe. So I'm going to leave this, excuse me, like it is, but I will build those little pieces on here that will keep it in place. I will make those to look like this lumber, and it will just be a little square board, B-O-A-R-D, square to keep each of those in place. If I'm going to do that, which I have now pretty much decided I'm going to do, I will not be painting these yet, because let me get those boards on there first. And then when I paint the boards, I can then also repaint this. As you can see, some of the places where there's been glue, the paint has not stuck all that well, but there is a residue from it, which now makes it stickier. So if I'm using more paint again, like a second layer, I should be able to cover that. Plus, I can always come back after and glue moss into all of the strange spots that glue shows up. I can just say, whoop, that part's mossy, and glue on it. Because it certainly could be. This is supposed to be right next to a seashore. This is a lighthouse. So that is the tower thus far. It needs more paint, as you can see really sadly clearly in that image, and it will need more. I've got to build those little pieces to fit. I think I'm going to build those right now, which means I have to find what I did with my lumber. And lumber is made out of foam. In this case, it's not actual lumber, but I believe I should be able to get the entire thing out of that piece. That is quite a bit. Now, I have two options here. I can use hot glue, which so far I have not used, except this suffered a broken piece, and I fixed that with hot glue. But other than that, I said, dang it. Trying not to say anymore. So I will, this entire thing was built with hot glue. So there's no white glue in this, except this first piece I put together some of the pieces with white glue. Everything above this, the second tier and the third tier are all hot glue. Hit it again. Keep saying and I'm going to, I think what I'm going to do is use hot glue just because it sets up so much quicker, because I've got 8 of these I got to make, and I'm going to end up bumping these with the white glue if I don't. Dinner is a good plan. Mrs. Lynn is eating dinner, trying to eat dinner. I believe Mrs. Lynn is very busy today, and there are cats, and the cats would be like, I too would like some of your dinner. And Elsie, I don't know what Elsie's doing, but Elsie tends to just sort of hang out. I know that you have a, I'm going to get this wrong, daughter in school that sometimes you have to go do stuff with. I may be getting that wrong. You may not be the right person. You may be exactly the right person. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to eyeball these. I am not measuring them. I'm going to take this, figure that needs to be about there. I will cut it off at that point, glue it on, etc., etc., etc. So, actually, I'm going to do this an even easier way. I am going to take hot glue. Now, this is on low temp, not high temp. High temp can melt this foam really easy, and I got too many other parameters I have to deal with, so I'm not worried. I'm not trying to fix the temperature here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a straight line, a straight bead of the glue right there. I'm going to take this. Wow, that did not glue out at all. Let's try that again. I know it's warmed up. Why are you not beading? Wow, you just don't want to come out tonight. Okay, that is way more than I really needed, but it wasn't doing any before, so I'm going to line that up with it. And now I'm simply going to hold that in place. And when that sets up, I will then take trusty knife, which just fell apart on me, so not all that trusty knife. And come on. Oh, I did it. Nope, that's right. Oh, no, it wasn't. I had it upside down. That's me. Operator error. Problem exists between chair and knife. All right. Cats are busy fighting each other to harass food. Well, that's something, I guess. Good luck with the cat fights. Okay. I have been cutting everything else sort of tapering into places. So I think I'm going to do the same thing here. I am going to, first I'm going to cut off flat because that will save me the headache of trying to figure out exactly how it's tapered in a minute. But then I'm going to take that and taper just a bit off of that, just because. Alrighty. Now, I'm going to do something I am loath to do. Wow, that is really bright. Oh well. I'm going to do something that I do not like to do, and that is work left-handed. I absolutely am not a lefty. No way, shape, or form. Okay, so and then some glue on the piece I just installed, and then along the bottom below it, and I will burn my thumb lightly, and it will all be fine. Now I'll push all of that together. Hold that in place for a second. I can already tell I got that crooked. I hope that doesn't interfere with my other piece. I don't think it will. Okay, hold that for a second. Then take that off right along the edge. Slight little taper. I didn't wait long enough, so the glue's not really dry. And as you know, I've been saving all these little pieces here for refuse and rubble and things like that. So, wouldn't you know it, I got it too far over. That is okay. I can fix that. I'm going to take that and actually, did I get it too far over? Oh, no. I was holding it the wrong orientation. Okay, so I think we're good. Okay, so that's one. 7 more to go. do the same thing. I'm going to go right-handed first and then left-handed after. That, I want that a little bit snug, so let's put that there. We will run the line of glue. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We will run the line of way less glue than that. Okay. Oh, even on the lower temp, I still melted that a little. Well, you gotta be careful. That doesn't seem right. There we go. But I thought I hadn't pushed it far enough back. While the glue was still hot, I used its viscosity to help move my little piece in place. But now it is cooled to where there is no viscosity anymore because it's now essentially a solid. By the way, I know I've said this before on the channel, hot glue does not dry because it was never wet. I guess congeals is the best word. Gels? I don't know. Okay, now double, triple, quadruple check this. Yep, I still got it wrong. Oh, no, I didn't. I put it at the front. Okay, just going to take a little wiggling. All right, now this one. Okay. Need to take that and cut just a little bit off the back. I don't really need this off the back. It could stay there because it's not going to interfere with anything, but it's going to help me to line up the next piece. So taking that off the back will be just fine. She went to college last week, Sunday, so literally a week today. She's about 3 hours away, so no running back and forth right now. I mowed, and now I'm sorting STLs. That's 3D printing files in prep for printing more stuff on my Orc and Goblin army. Orcs and Goblins, yeah. The game I will eventually publish, I swear. The Orcs and Goblins, there's a reason that they act orky and goblin-y. And in version 2, which I'm already planning for, there will be an update to the lore. And we will realize why they're like that and what you can do instead. So I'm planning ahead. And in some of my, I'm biting off a huge chunk of apple here on this one. But part of my apple of my game I am writing is that it will have a minimum of 32 separate worlds. Now, I am not necessarily planning on writing all of those, but I do have a meta that keeps them all organized and coherent. Within that meta, they will, those worlds will be, what am I trying to say? Some of them, the various races that people know and love, plus I got a bunch of races people are never had before. The races that people know and love will be not necessarily what people are expecting. Let's put it that way. I like to, what's the phrase that used to be so popular? Subvert the dominant paradigm. Okay, now this one, I have given up on that thing. So what I am doing is now marking. Actually, you know what? This is going to be under glue and foam. So I'm going to use marker so that I know where we're at. Okay, so that's the center where the foam needs to go, give or take. That is the center where the foam needs to go, give or take. Now, this foam is only like 4 millimeters thick. So when I say center, I mean like 1.5 millimeters, 2 millimeters. Okay, so don't be like me. Close your knife. Don't need the mouse. Let's move the mouse out of the way. That was for setting up. Doing hot glue gun. Hot glue gun. Line of goop. Set the foam on the line of goop. Learn from last mistakes. Give it enough clearance. And there we go. It's really the world's longest, flimsiest handle. No, it is not. Let's see. Oh, we had 4 people and then 2 went away. Oh, bye. I miss you already. I don't know who you were. So some people don't like to watch the chill, just sit and hang out streams, and that is okay. I do not remember exactly what I said I was going to work on after this and the house piece. I think I said something about building docks and maybe a ship. I don't know. I'll go back and watch my old video unless somebody can remind me. I know that some of y'all watch all the videos, and so you probably know. So if you know, let me know here or in the Discord, and I will be happy to trudge right along with whatever I said before. Okay. This one, to make space, I need to put that. Okay. I made the mark a little bit too far to one side, and that is okay. I will just glue a little bit to the side of that. And a little bit on the other part so they stick together for extra rigidity. Rigidity, it's just a fun word to say. Rigidity. Say it just right. Rigidity. Rigidity. Those of you who don't know that reference, well, I don't know what to tell you. That one's literally older than I am. The Muppets did it in the 70s and 80s, and they got it from vaudeville. If you don't know what vaudeville is, it is spelled V-A-U-D-E, ville, with an E on the end, and I will let you figure that one out on yourself. I am old. I am not vaudeville old. I am only old enough to use vaudeville references because I grew up with my grandparents. And watching Laugh-In, which is its own older reference by itself. And they referenced a lot of vaudeville. Okay, we are 7/8 of the way done putting little braces on each other. Then I'm going to repaint those and touch up some other spots on the chunks. Now, these are going to, by necessity, be sticky uppy here, but I don't think it's going to matter. Once you start putting little people on it, I don't think that's going to matter if those are right there. You can just say that it has to be built in. It's the way the corner brace is made, whatever, and they're just going to have to deal with it. If you play one of those games, it's that crunchy on the movement rules. So I did it again. Close the knife, Cross. All right, so move Mr. Man west. Okay. So my alternative to this was to glue everything in place, and then it would be rigid and plenty sturdy and all that, but I seem to not be doing that. I am going to have a trick when I complete this, and you'll see, and it's literally a stupid simple trick. And okay, line there and line there. And we will take this and put a bead of glue. And that next trick is super simple, like stupid simple, but it will be effective. Wow, my glue gun has gotten hotter, which is fine. I guess it finally got fully up to temp. My glue didn't burn me or get anything like that. I just noticed I had more working time. Okay. Taper. Whoop. Don't touch your finger off the back of the blade, or with the front of the blade either. No cutting fingers off. Let's just go with that. Okay, where's my line? There it is. Okay. We will put a little bead of glue on that, and up that one other piece. Wow, grammar. Up the other piece as well. Then I will take that and mushify those together. Now, my brown that I painted this with had, I had basically run out of brown. So I had to take all of my brown from one and water it down a bit and get it into the other. I added some glue to it to make it stick a little better. So I have some much thinner glue that's essentially two browns in one this time. So we shall see if I can make that work here in a moment. I'm not sure that it's going to do all that well being thinned a bit. So Okay. That is all of the lower one done. I do have a piece I need to trim off because I'm overly perfectionist and doesn't really need to do it at all, but I'm still doing it. And got that off. We'll toss all those in the rubble pile. Oh, so what I was saying about my rubble pile, I actually had to make it larger because I am generating so much rubble with this and my last project. So that brick thing. So between the bricks and this, I've generated a lot of things for my rubble pile. Okay, so I'm tapering all of these just so pieces will slot in easier. That's not the simple trick. That's a trick, but it's not the one I was going to show you. I will show you simple trick in about 5 seconds. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, now we got that out of the way. Here's my simple trick. I am literally going to squeeze these. And by squeezing them together towards each other, it makes them more rampy. Now, that does potentially get rid of some of the lumberiness, but no one's going to ever care or notice. Okay, so now where's the front? That's the front. Okay, where's the front? That's the back. Okay. You should, remember, should's always in air quotes, at least on this channel. These should slot together. Aha! Look at that. And it's so much sturdier than it was. Oh my gosh. And it'll still come apart so that minis can sit inside. That is a win and a win. All right. Now, I got to do the same thing again with this one. Now, this one I had to fix this tiny piece in here with hot glue. It's probably the sturdiest part of the entire build now. I managed to hide most of it in parts that were already done. But if you look carefully, you can see some spots where I didn't get any paint in there at all. So as I said, these need to be repainted. However, if I was to slap a dry brush on this, then hit them with the dark wash, and then hit them with a highlight brush, you will, all these would just, these imperfections would look like just things hidden in the wood. It literally would disappear. No one would ever know. That said, I need to paint these pieces anyway, so I might as well slap a coat on some of the problem children. Okay, so, oops, tried to lift that up and it stays stuck. Yay, that's pretty much perfect. Couldn't ask for better. Okay, now this one, I gotta do the same thing on here. Now, we're gonna do the same sort of thing. Over. Same thing in a totally different way. And I mean, no, a totally different thing in exactly the same way. You know what? Before I do that, let me cover the house thing so I don't forget. So let me sit that off to the side. Okay, now this is for, I believe it was Nick, if it wasn't, for whomever was asking. How do I make my buildings fit together when they are designed to come apart? And it is super simple. These are made out of foam core and cardboard to begin with, foam gate and corrugated cardboard to begin with. Each one of these can be used for storage. So this is, in essence, a box. Happens to be a decorated box. Got a door. It's got these things, can't remember what they're called. Corbels. Got corbels, cantilevers, moss, and all the fun stuff. But it has a house that fits on top of it. I could create a roof that just fits on this. My house has a plank, has a piece that sticks down. That is just made out of, is that 2 or 3? That's 2 layers, in this case, cross-hatched cardboard for rigidity. There's my word again, rigidity. And those are glued to the bottom of the actual, this board is just for looks. There's another piece of cardboard in there that's the actual floor. And these are just glued onto that. I don't put just one, I like 2, even though it takes up a little more room in the bottom box, because that gives me a nice secure fit. Sometimes I do taper these off ever so slightly so it will fit in better. But in this one, it's pretty much, I couldn't have gotten this one better if I had tried, so I leave that one alone. Now, what I could do is, on this top part, on this top floor or story, depending on how you look at it, I could have made a smaller one, just like I did on this, and when I put it in, I could take that and just slide it back and it would stay in place. And that would be plenty secure on a tabletop. However, I didn't think that far ahead. So this one is the whole surface and fits into this one. So that's it. It's just a keyway. It's just a key that fits in a keyway. Bonus content here in a second. I'll get to that in just a moment. Now for the roof, same thing. Here's all the wooden decor and moss and stain and aging and all that I put on it. And the inside is just a cardboard tab that works like the keyway as well. So that part will just, et voila, just like that. It's that simple. I do this on pretty much all of my storage type buildings. I have another house over here. No adornment, no doors. This is just solid. This is designed somewhere. There's a stairwell that goes up to this door. I don't know where I put the stairwell. Don't ask me that. I get asked the tough questions. Okay, so let's just say this is there. And there you go. Perfect. Okay, so somewhere I've got a stairway that leads up to this. That doesn't matter. My point is the house fits together with that same little keyway. For some reason, I did this one 3 layers, but I think it's because it's thinner corrugated. So same deal. Oh, there's the stairs. I put them inside. Look at me being smart. So that it's like that. Even though both of these 2 stories are one box, they still fit together. I'm showing you. I can see it, but you can't. They still fit together just like that. Okay, now roof is the same way. 2 tabs of cardboard, fits together. And there's my stairway, which I made a little short, but they'll live with it. So that's going to drive me nuts. No, if I make it taller, would I? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's fine, cross. Let it go. So the bonus content. How do I make my windows like this? They are solid. They are darkened, but they don't look like there's just paper pressed up against the back because it's not even an illusion of depth. There is the view of depth because I have painted them with a super matte gray, and the window is just sitting out from them. There's a gap behind it. In this case, it's built into the window. So I just didn't sink the window all the way in. The window sits about at the back of this foam core, but then there's just that one little layer of corrugated in there before the black card is on there, and it gives that image of depth. Now, on the other house, I did that differently, and that is, I will forget those stairs are there, and I'll surprise myself next time just the same way. All right, so on the other house, I did not do that. I did a different, why are you sticking to me? Okay, on this one, not that one. This one is actually open. There's a gap of this width. I just painted the inside a flat gray or a flat black so you can see that depth through the window. But on these, I actually put in a board physically set back from behind it that's painted black. So there's a black paint job on that board. And that depth gives it, I can't explain it, but it makes the house look better. It really does. Okay, so, yeah, that's it. All right, so as I said, I do this on a lot of my storage boxes. So this one, even though it's, this is an intersection for my roads. My roads are 6 inches wide. So my big roads, I've got roads you can take a wagon down and roads that you can't. On my big roads, this one, they are 6 inches wide. So this box is a 6 inch by 6 inch. Yeah, as close as I can get it with all these beat up tiles because they're supposed to look old and aged. Lots of moss and stuff like that. I didn't put moss on the side yet. I will one of these days. But same thing. Keyway, this one's made of 2 layers of foam core, but it's the same thing. Little keyway, fit together. That's enough of that. We talked that to death. That's how that works. All right, let's continue with this piece on the top. Line of glue. Ooh, these lines are much shorter. I mean, duh, but it's something to take into account. There's not as much support, so it wants to try to dip down on me on this far end. Got to hold that in place. All right. So I know I ask every time, but I'm going to ask again. Anybody out there crafting? Y'all just hanging out? Had a few more people bop in and bop out. Oh well. I miss you too. So, oh, I know something I can say. Jess, who has the Sim Peasant account that I told you about earlier. This is directly to Jess. Today, I got a question of, what did you think of this video about your today's video? So I just want you to know that YouTube cares enough about the algorithm cares enough about your channel to have bothered to ask people about it. So I'm presuming that's good. So I told them it was lovely and wonderful and everybody should watch it. I did not really. There's like 5 little bullet things you can pick, and I picked the ones that were appropriate and moved on with my day. But I did not, I promise, did not give your channel any grief in any way because, well, I enjoy it. Why would I talk smack? So, anybody else who has a YouTube channel out there who I watch, I haven't gotten any notifications about your channels. If I do, I will let you know. Maybe here, maybe just on my Discord. By the way, everybody go check out my Discord. Links are in the doobly-doo down below. I don't think I got enough glue on this little upright piece. I may need to spread that out, toss some more glue in there, and try it again. But I think it may have held now. Okay. So while that's trying to figure that out, I will swap this part off. Get rid of this extra glue I don't need. Get that blade. Those of you watching, did you see me tap myself with the edge of the blade because I'm dumb? Yep, that happened. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shave this back corner off like I did on the others, but I'm going to go ahead and do it while I'm right here working on this one. And I'm getting a cramp in my hand. Weird. Sometimes I'll come down here and craft for 3 or 4 hours before I start to cramp, and other times it's within like an hour. And I don't know what causes it, and it happens only when I'm sitting down. It doesn't happen when I'm standing up, but once it's already happening, it'll keep happening. So standing up, I'll try standing up, but we shall see. If I stand up, I won't be able to see these as well. So I don't want to have to add more light and blind y'all. So I think I am going to, I could have moved that a lot further over. In fact, I think what I will do is glue some here and here and yep, that way, and glue that. Then I will take that piece off at the same angle. I know I said I'd cut it straight and not angled, but yeah, what are you gonna do? Okay, then once that's congealed a little more, I will take off the first piece so it's not bigger and out of place compared to all the others, especially since it's on this front edge. And then I will, oh, that doesn't want to come. All right, so we will nick through that hot glue. This is all getting cut in or painted anyway, so I'm not that worried about it being specific. I just don't like the big fat chunk left over. So we are gonna yoink that off of there. Well, most of that off of there. We'll yoink the rest of that off of there. And we're trimming that out. I say that, it doesn't want to come out. There we go. Okay, into the rubble pile because that glue stuck on it will not matter. It's all rubble. Then, as I said, trim off that back edge at a slight bevel, which it did not do. There it did. Okay, this cramp is getting me. All right. Okay, now let's try that again with style and verve. Hey, look at that. There we go. Okay, where's my pen? There's my pen. You're gonna... Oop, my pen has had the cap off for too long, so let's put that one over there, and we will grab a different one. Those are all permanent markers, which means those will try to melt the foam. I may be out of luck on that. I may be going back to using a pencil because I certainly don't want to melt the foam. Because unlike hot glue, the foam will not go back together after I'd done melted it. All right. Never made a video, so my channel wouldn't prompt any sort of action yet. Which should I make for my army next? The giant of some sort or a wyvern? Could be a monster or a mount for an orc boss. Oh, I'd go with the wyvern because I've always had a thing. I know I give Lord of the Rings and all that a bunch of garbage all the time, but man, I had a fell beast. Never be out of the saddle. Wyverns, dragons, Pegasus, in flying and being able to ride it. Hell yeah. But I don't play anything grim and or dark, so I am not 100% the demographic to ask on that. But that's my 2 cents worth. Oh, right, wrong side of the pond. That's my 2 pence worth. I know the first week of college is way too young for some people to know yet, but any idea what she's planning on studying? Just curious. I went to school for a long time and only got a 2-year. I mean, like a long time, and only got a 2-year degree. Only. I'm perfectly proud of my 2-year degree, mind you. But I literally couldn't decide what I wanted to be when I grew up. I got the opportunity to go back to school for free. I got a scholarship for having been laid off from a place. So I lost a lot of money, but I got a tiny bit of money. So I guess that's yay. Not yay. But when I went back, I was like, I'm going to get this computer science degree and do me some programming because I'm good with computers. Well, it's been 30 years. I'm still good with computers, and I still have never really put that degree to work. Oh, well. You know, is what it is. Okay. That, I got a little bit snug, so I'm going to have to trim off some of that. And there is no way in heck I'm going to be able to texture that like lumber again, but that is okay. We're just going to suck that up and move on. All right. On a piece that small, no one's ever going to know. Actually, you know what? I'm going to know. I'm going to be picky. I have my freshly cleaned out brush I talked about earlier, and I can get that while the top part's not on. So, ta-da, done. All righty. We are 3/4 of the way there. It is 7:45. Wow, I should finish this just about the time that I stopped for the night. That is good news. All right. So next week, like I said, I believe I will be I don't know, probably seriously consider building a ship or stuff that goes on docks like littles. I never have enough little things. I never have enough bric-a-brac type flavor scatter. I don't know. Okay, that's right there. Okay. So started to build some crates a couple different ways, and I'm not really happy with how any of them turned out, so I may try to give that some thinking. I don't know. I said last week what I was planning on working on for the next 5 or 6 weeks, and I have honestly forgotten most of it, except working more on this lighthouse and showing the house fitting together part I showed earlier. So that really doesn't want to cool off. By the way, foam is an insulator. So once you put hot glue between the foam, it takes longer to cool than it does if you just put hot glue on foam, because the two layers keep the heat in for a moment. I keep gluing myself together with the hot glue. Great fun. All right, so take that. Okay, I can tell by the way that's moving that it is already congealed up in there. All right. And that needs to go right there on the edge of that piece and leave a little line there. Oh, got quiet again. I did it again. I do not like the lapsing into quietude when I'm supposed to be talking to y'all. And only thing more boring than watching somebody sit here and literally watch paint dry like I was doing last week. The only thing that's more boring than that is watching paint dry with no one talking about the paint. So taper this a little on the backside. Remember for once to close my knife. Good to go. Now test that. Make sure that fits. Like a glove. It's almost like I designed it that. Oh, I did design it that way. Alrighty. That's my glue line. That's my glue line. Take you off. Studying education, wants to be a teacher. Nice. My grandmother and mother were both teachers. I thought about going into it. Oh, and my brother. My brother was a teacher, and my dad's a college professor. So whatever. But I thought about going into teaching, and I realized that I don't know exactly how to word this. Big, burly, outspoken, loud guys, I don't think is what they want for teachers. I guess I could teach shop, except I'd have to be. Anyway, I'm sorry, I was about to insult all my shop teachers. I actually enjoyed shop. I had metal shop from the same guy that was the coach of my high school track team, and he was super cool. I really liked him, really liked his wife, really liked their kids. Used to bring them to the track meets and stuff, and had no real problem with that. But man, the school I went to after that, I never had shop. I had already had shop. I had those. I didn't have to go take a shop class. But the teachers that we had that taught shop were they didn't care about kids. They were both football coaches, and they were only teaching shop class because you had to be a teacher to be a coach, and they did not give a single about the kids. They did not care about us. So yeah, but that's the sort of bad taste in my mouth I got left with after seeing shop teachers. So I don't know. All right, there's the front. Stick that together. And what do you know? I worked on the first try. So it is 10 till 8. I still have some time. I think I'm going to slap a coat of paint on these two little things on their little I'm going to call those stanchions. I think that might not be the right word, but that's what I'm going to call them for now. All right, I put my paints away because I didn't think I'd need them. Give me just a second to get the brown paint. You still should be able to hear me while I wander over here. Okay, so we'll get the brown paint. Let's put all of this into my new and enlarged rubble box. Okay, got that there. Oh, lost one. Rubble down, rubble down. When I do that, when I say blah, blah, blah down, I have noticed that YouTube has no idea what to make of that in the automatic captioning. That was really funny. So. This paint's really watery, and I've only got a few things to work to deal with it. So I am going to take my handy dandy, the end of a brush where the bristles actually, where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, on the bristles is called the toe. I really like this. Ooh, you can't see, there he is. Angled toe brush. It's at like a, I don't know, 30-degree angle cutoff, and it's very nice. I can use the point to get into places, and then it's wide enough to spread it around. So this is the one I'm using. Some folks are always like, which brush did you use? Which paint did you use? This paint is a mixture of Ceramcoat, burnt umber. Sorry, couldn't see the paint, and a brown by Martha Stewart, but I don't remember the color of the brown, and that bottle's way across the room, so we're not going to go find that one. Sorry, Martha. But now that I've mixed the two colors together, added some glue to make them give a little more rigidity once it's dried, and a little bit of water to help it spread. Actually, the water wasn't to help it spread. The water was to help me get the last of the goop out of the Martha Stewart bottle. That was my fault because it's, 5-year-old paint and it's dried inside the bottle. Holy crap, that's looking good. That looks like it was supposed to be there the whole time. Yep, just tossing some brown on here. There's some little rough spots on here where there's like a little bit of glue left and that sort of thing. I don't care. This paint, put it right over it. It just looks like part of the lumber after. Part of the benefit of the fact that I textured the wood. I didn't just, it's not wood, it's all foam, but I textured the wood foam, the foam wood, so that it has a wood grain look to it. And it hides a lot of sins once you little stuff that might look weird out of scale if it was smooth, looks fine with the, actually doesn't look fine. Fine is the problem. The meaning of looks fine looks like it's well crafted. It's finely made. And you don't want that. You want it to look like roughened older lumber so that everything blends in together. So I don't want to fine at all, which is fine. All right, this is champion of the world right here. This stuff's looking good. I know I do good work, and it sometimes comes out all right, but sometimes it just comes out better than you expect. It's just like, hell yeah. I think it has to do with the fact that both of the paints I put on last week were too dry and I could get them where I wanted to go by adding water at the moment, in the moment as it were, but they were getting thin enough to spread around and look like they were covering, but it wasn't really putting as much pigment down as I would like. Now that I've had a week and I've shaken this about 5 or 6 times and I've put them to, mixed them together and I got the glue and everything, it's doing a lot better coverage. So I know if you ever want to paint with a paint that you need to reconstitute, maybe let it reconstitute for a while, then go back and paint. But see these places like this, where the glue doesn't really want to, with the second coat, it'll hide a lot of that. See? It's weird. I can't really tell because it's wet right now, so it's shiny in the camera. But maybe don't keep sticking your finger on the wet paint. I don't know. Like I said, this is not the final coat of paint. This will will get a dry brush with a lighter color. And I've got some tans and creams and stuff over there. So we'll get a dry brush with one of those. And then it will get a wash with, I have a bunch of washes. On this one, I will probably, because it's already brown, I will use something like a green wash. That'll end up starting the mossy and old look to it. And then I will come back with an actual white, literally white. And why are you painting the bottom, Cross? Well, sometimes, you may get an ogre that flips this thing over, so might as well be painting on the bottom. Anyway, I will come back by with an actual pure on white or 95% close to white as a final highlight brush. And on that, I will only hit the tops of things. I will come down the rungs of the stairs and things like that, just to highlight the parts you want to show up. Boy, there's stairs over here. I would never have known without the lovely highlighting. Yeah, that sort of thing. All right, I think that one's done painted up. Except for these feet. Doesn't actually have feet, it just legs. It's been amputated. Ah! Apologies to all amputees. I'm sorry, that was rude. Shouldn't have said that. Alrighty. Okay, that one's pretty much done. God, the top's almost dry already. Okay. Considering how humid it has been here. Wow, English, Cross. I'm rather surprised that it is drying that quickly. But this foam does not have a primer on it, so it is sucking up the moisture from the paint. So that may have something to do with it and working in my favor, which is kind of cool. Yeah, one of my gym teachers was also the offensive line coach was my biology teacher, and I knew more than him, and he did not like that I always had an answer because I was the new kid in the school because I'd come from another state, and somehow that just rubbed him completely the wrong way. My gym teacher, which I'm kind of upset about because I had to have gym even though I was technically on the football team because I was the manager. I shouldn't have had to have gym, but that's neither here nor there. 30 years later, I'm still bitter. But he was the defensive line coordinator. So I had the offensive line coordinator and the defensive line coordinator as two teachers in the same year. So, and I would then get done in one of their classes. Neither of those are my first or last class. So if I went to a practice in the morning or I went to a practice in the afternoon, I would then have an hour or two gap and then see them again. So that was kind of bizarre when I look back on it. The reason I say it's bizarre is if y'all knew how little I care about sports ball, but it was Texas. I helped with the football team, instant popularity. Never intended to be popular, never cared about being popular, but it didn't hurt anything getting through high school that way. From that aspect, the teacher still hated me. That's neither. Not both of them, just the science guy. The PE teacher, PE coach, whatever. He and I never had a problem. We got along just fine. So, in case y'all are wondering what I'm doing right here, like I said, I'm just touching up parts where the glue didn't fully take paint last time, but it left a bit of a residue of the paint. So this time the paint is sticking to the previous paint better than it would by itself. Alrighty. Oh, I am needing more paint than I expected. I'm trying to only use a little bit at a time because lately several times I have gone to paint things and end up with so much paint left on the palette that I literally have scraped it up and put it back in a bottle because I'm not much of a cheapskate. I'm just like, that's like 4 drops too much. I can't do it. It's got to go back in a bottle. I'm trying to avoid that like the plague with this batch. Not that humans avoid plagues anymore, but we used to. So many little places. Get the little paintbrush in there. Goop, goop, goop. Goop, goop, goop. And like I said, these are on the inside. Nobody's ever going to see these but me. Unless just like by some weird random happenstance, an ogre or something throws the things over. Chances of that, since I'm going to be the one running the games, is pretty low to begin with. I mean, I could throw an ogre at people. I have done before. In one game, I had somebody throw it. No. The ogre threw someone at someone. I didn't throw the ogre. The ogre threw someone else. I saw a funny thing the other day that the barbarian said, it's a cartoon. I'm not going to try to describe the whole cartoon, but long story short, the barbarian said, hey, can we get this bonus for improvised attack? And the GM was like, sure. Wait, what do you mean we? And the barbarian was then using the bard as a club. I was like, yep, I've had those players. Okay. There's a lot of space where there's just too much blue green from the under. You'd think the green would be fine for algae reasons and stuff like that, but it's literally a bright teal. So I'm going to cover up some of those as well. It's very difficult when you are when you have wet paints to see all of the other little spots, because things that are still essentially white, they're teal, but essentially white underneath, just look like damp spots in the paint, and it sort of fails to catch your eye while it's wet. It's always good to go back and do the second coat after it is well dry. What do you mean well dry? Wells aren't dry. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Always that kid too. I had about 4 of those kids in school that were just the one that would always say those jokes like that. Most of them were actually kind of funny. That's the thing. They're super quick-witted and all that. They just could not grasp the concept of maybe not the time. Some people are at school to get their education. Clearly not me, but some of them. I am almost done with this little sucker, and I'm still going to have to add more paint, because of course I am. And I get that hand cramp again. God dang it. Okay, that should be plenty. Okay. Squidge it into the nooks and crannies. That's right. I said squidge. I even use squidge when I'm writing. I'll write out squidge. It's not a problem. I'll do it. I'm crazy. I am so close to being done with this one. Then move on to that last one. Just touch up the paints on that one because it didn't have any new parts added. And then I will be good to go. Oh, that means I am probably going to still need more paint. Crud. That is okay. Okay. That is 2/3 done, give or take. All right. Yep, we're definitely going to need more paint. No, I don't lick my paint. I don't lick my paint brushes. I don't do any of that. But thank you for that lovely suggestion. But I am not going to be doing that. Thank you. Drives me nuts when I see people do that. I saw somebody recently do that when they were painting with oil paints, and I'm just like, really? But no, I don't lick my paints. I never use two-part anythings with my bare hands because you can develop a allergy even when you haven't had one, etc. The only thing I do on a consistent basis is I do not shut my stupid knife. I've never cut myself on a knife just because the knife was open. Yet. I figure that it's going to happen some point in my life. I cut myself, but not because a knife was left open. Usually I cut myself because I get inattentive and I'm doing something else with the knife in my hand. Y'all saw me tap my thumb with the edge of the blade earlier. Like, oh. Oh my gosh. 5/6 of the way done. I have done 2 of the sides on the top. I've done all of the bottom and all of the middle. So I am however many percentages 5/6 is. Used to actually be able to know that stuff off the top of my head, but it's been too long since I've had to. Used to be a carpenter, for those of y'all that don't know. Like my trade, like my stock in trade was to make pretty stairwells and wainscoting and chair rails and yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I did other stuff, but that's the ones that popped at the top of my head because I did them all the time, like over and over again. By the way, I have a trivia question for y'all. Anybody interested in trivia? I don't care. I'm gonna ask you anyway. In the United States, what is the average angle that stairwells are at? It's not code or anything. I don't think it's required. What is the average angle, the one that makes it the rise over run that feels correct as you're walking up it? Oop, that's too much. I knew I was going to get too much, but it's not too much. It's a little too much. All right, so there you go. That's my trivia question. I'll answer that on the Discord. Gives you a chance to go look it up or whatever. So, cheating's allowed, I guess. I'd prefer if you didn't. It's just fun to, anyway. But I know things. Look at me knowing things. So there is an average angle that stairwells run at least in the United States. We used to know these things when our country did statistics. We don't do that anymore. Okay. Man, that did not want to take paint. That was crazy. All righty. Quote my Irish friends, job's a good one. Missed quite a few spots. That's all right. Better than it was 2 hours ago. So that's the lighthouse pretty much done. The part on top is going to be done like a brazier. So I've got a little metal dish. I'm just going to use that, I think. It looks like a big metal. Actually, I can reach that. I've got that close to hand. Give me just a second. I'll grab that. It's a big cauldron looking thing. That's going to sit there, and it's going to have what looks like a bonfire in it. That's going to be a electronic tea light underneath. It's going to sit in there, the bonfire on top of it, and it's going to light up and twinkle. Probably won't really be bright like a fire, but that's going to be my... The fires are lit, Gondor calls for aid sort of lighthouse to stop people from running into this town I'm building. Actually, running into the promontory out from this town I'm building. Not a promontory, it's not the right word. Isthmus. Land blob. With a land blob. Alright, so that's going to sit. Here's what it's going to look like all said and done. God dang it. If I can ever finish getting all the paint on it. That top shelf. That top stair rung is not, anyway, not a rung. Okay, so that's going to stick together if I stick it, so I'm just going to gently set it. More spots I haven't painted. What the heck? Wow, I missed like an entire side. What the heck? Yeah, I did. I missed an entire side. No idea how I did that. Okay, now I'm done. You go here. And this goes here. And yeah, that's my tower. You can't see all of that. Let me move some things. And that's my tower. So yeah, that's the plan. Now, for right now, I'm going to sit that off to the side. Sit that off to the side. That off to the side. Paint yet one more spot I missed. Two more. Three more. All right. All right. Leave it alone. Done. Sit that to the side. That's going to dry till tomorrow. Got some stuff. And leave that in there. Didn't end up with too much paint out of my bottle, so that's good. Only have one paintbrush and my hands to clean, so that's good. And yeah, let's see if I can manage to not paint my keyboard while I ring off for the night. First off, let me turn off the light on this light, and then I'll face you on that camera. Excuse me. Front camera, front camera. There we go. Okay, so yeah, that's ready to go. It needs touch-up paint. It needs, dry brush. That takes minutes to dry. That's not going to have to sit like this heavier coat is. It's got a wash I'm going to put on it. I've got green wash over there. Then I'm going to hit it with a white highlight or a bright cream highlight. And then I'm going to add some moss to it, just like I did on this piece that I showed you earlier. Various little spots. But basically, it's ready to go. It's built, and it's got the paint on it. And yeah, that's it for the lighthouse. There are 500 ways to attach LED candles to things for crafting. So many people have videos on that. I don't think I'm going to do a video on that. I may post some work in progress pictures for that on the Discord. So please go check out the Discord. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you would, once this is over, refresh the page and leave a comment. Big shout out to all my patrons. Several of them have helped with this. Several of them I have hopefully answered their questions during tonight's video. And yeah, that's really all I've got for y'all tonight. So please come check out the Discord. I'd love to have a conversation with anybody who's watching this. And yeah. All right, I'm going to read the things here one more time and then say goodbye. I'm a wuss for not licking the oil paints. Yeah, no. Yeah, maybe to point the bristles, I understand that, but I don't have any pointy. I don't have. I have 2 pointy brushes. That's it. I don't really need to lick any of the rest of them. Many of them I like this one looks kind of pointy, but the tips are just ratty. And I actually like it because it's really good for doing things like if I see some like a glaring error and I need to get the paint down in that hole, I can take that thing and stab it in there with the paint. And I'm not worried about messing up the bristles because they've been messed up for 20 years and it still works. So I'm old. I have paintbrushes that are older than my housemate. Anyway, the tower's new. Just built that. Hope y'all enjoyed it. So yeah, this is what I do on the Sundays. I come out and I come down here and I chill out and talk to y'all. And that's all I got for tonight. I'm gonna have to rewatch last week's to see what I'm doing next week because I forgot. But if nothing else, I'll go back to finishing off those tiles from 2 or 3 weeks ago. So yeah, this is Campaign Terrain. I hope you enjoyed it. This is just a chill place to hang out and chat with people who do other crafting, dollhouses, miniature stuff that's just for having miniature's sake, dioramas, tabletop gaming, either wargaming or role-playing game, that sort of thing. The only thing I really don't cover is model trains and scale models because that's not my thing. I used to build a lot of those, but the things we're interested in shift. So yeah, that's it. This is Campaign Terrain. I've been your host, That Guy Cross. This is The Basement. You're welcome back anytime. I'm trying to be here every Sunday night, and I so far haven't missed any, knock wood. And please come hang out in the Discord. Connection. The reason I'm pointing down is there's linky poos, and yeah, that's everything. So we're all in this together. I want you to know that I love you, and until next time, I wish you luck in your campaign, in real life or on the table. Thank you so much for coming. You have a great night.